I'm Rebecca Martinez. I'm 28 years old. 3 weeks ago, I woke up in a hospital bed with a fractured collarbone, 3 broken ribs, and a concussion so serious that doctors were concerned about internal brain bleeding. My 6-week-old daughter, Emma, was with a stranger, a professional newborn care specialist I had hired from my phone while paramedics were cutting me out of my totaled Honda. The accident was not my fault. A delivery truck ran a red light at nearly 60 miles per hour and struck my car on the driver's side. The force sent my vehicle spinning across 4 lanes of traffic. I remember the sound of metal tearing, the airbag deploying, and then nothing. Just darkness and the distant echo of sirens. When I regained consciousness in the ambulance, my first words were about Emma. "Hi, baby," I whispered through the oxygen mask. 6 weeks old, at home with neighbor, needs someone. The paramedic, a woman in her 40s with calm, kind eyes, squeezed my hand and said, "We'll help you figure it out. Stay calm." But I couldn't stay calm. Emma was exclusively breastfed and had never taken a bottle. My neighbor, Mrs. Chin, was 72 years old and had only agreed to watch Emma for the 20-minute drive to the grocery store. Now more than 40 minutes had passed, and I was being taken to the ER instead of home. From the ambulance, with shaking hands and blurred vision, I called my mother. She answered on the third ring. "Rebecca, I'm at the spa. What is it?" "Mom," my voice cracked. "I've been in a car accident. It's bad. I'm in an ambulance. Emma's at home with Mrs. Chin. Can you please go get her? I don't know when I'll—" "An accident?" She sighed deeply, the familiar sound she made whenever I disrupted her plans. "Are you sure it's that serious? You know how dramatic you can be." I could hear running water, spa music, the clink of champagne glasses in the background. "My car is totaled. I have a head injury. They're taking me to County General. Please, I just need you to get Emma." "County General is an hour away," she said. "I'm in the middle of a seaweed wrap. Can't your husband handle this?" "Marcus is in Dallas for work. He won't land for another 5 hours. Mom, please, she's 6 weeks old. She needs—" "Hold on." I heard muffled voices, then my sister laughing about something. My mother came back on the line. "Your sister and I are leaving tomorrow morning for our Caribbean cruise. We have the pre-cruise spa package today. It's already paid for." My head was pounding. Each word felt like it took all my strength. "Mom, this is an emergency. Your granddaughter needs help." "Your sister never has these emergencies," she said sharply. "Vanessa has 2 children and has never once called me in a panic about an accident or a crisis. You need to be more organized, more responsible." Something in my chest broke, and it wasn't just my ribs. "I didn't plan to get hit by a truck." "Well, you should have contingency plans," she replied. "That's what responsible parents do. I can't drop everything every time you have a problem. We've been planning this cruise for 8 months. The ambulance hit a pothole, and pain shot through my body. I gasped. "Are you even listening to me?" "This is exactly why I worry about you." She continued. "Always chaotic. Always needing to be rescued. I raised you to be independent, yet you still call me every time something goes wrong." The paramedic was watching me, concern clear on her face. She could hear every word through the speaker. "I'm not asking you to cancel your cruise," I said, forcing the words out. "Just to watch Emma for a few hours until I can arrange something else." "I'm getting on a ship tomorrow, Rebecca," she said. "I need to pack. I need to prepare. Your father and I deserve this vacation. We're not going to let your poor planning ruin our trip." "My poor planning?" My voice broke. "Mom, I was hit by a truck." "And I'm sure you're fine," she replied. "You're talking, aren't you? You're always dramatic about medical things. Remember when you thought you had appendicitis and it was just gas? Or when you were convinced you had pneumonia and it was only a cold?" I closed my eyes. Those memories felt different now. She had dismissed me then too, annoyed that I had needed her attention. "This is different," I said. "It's always different according to you," she replied. "I have to go. My wrap is getting cold. Call one of your friends or hire a babysitter. You make good money, don't you?" Problem solved. The line went dead. I stared at my cracked phone screen, at my mother's contact photo smiling back at me. It was from last Christmas. She was holding Emma, her first grandchild, posing proudly for the camera. I had thought things would change once Emma was born, that becoming a grandmother might soften her. I was wrong. The paramedic gently touched my arm. Do you have anyone else you can call? I scrolled through my contacts with trembling fingers. My best friend, Alicia, was in Seattle for a conference. Marcus's parents were in Arizona. Mrs. Chin couldn't manage a newborn for long. Then I found it. A business card I had saved in my phone 6 months earlier while researching childcare options during pregnancy. Elite Newborn Care. 24/7 emergency services. With the paramedics' guidance, I called Elite Newborn Care. A calm voice answered immediately. "This is Monica. I need help," I said, words tumbling out. "I'm in an ambulance. Car accident. My 6-week-old daughter is at home with an elderly neighbor who can't care for her long term. I need someone now, someone who can handle an exclusively breastfed baby and stay as long as necessary. We can have someone there within 45 minutes. Where is the baby now?" Monica asked. I gave her Mrs. Chin's address. She asked clear professional questions. "Any medical conditions? Are supplies at the house? Which hospital am I going to?" "Our specialist, Claudia, will be there in 40 minutes, Monica said. She's a registered nurse with 15 years of newborn care experience. She'll coordinate with the hospital for pumped milk if possible, or provide formula if needed. Don't worry, we've got your daughter." "How much will this cost?" I asked. "Our emergency rate is $75 per hour with a 4-hour minimum. Right now, you need to focus on your medical care. We'll handle the rest." I almost cried. Someone was actually helping me. No judgment, no guilt, just help. "Thank you," I whispered. "You're welcome, Mama. We'll care for her as if she were our own." If you're enjoying this story and want to hear what happened next, hit that like button. It really helps me continue creating these stories. The hospital was chaos. Doctors, nurses, machines beeping, and bright lights making my head throb worse. They did a CT scan of my brain and x-rays of my chest and shoulder. The pain medication made everything hazy, but one thought was clear. My mother had refused to help her own granddaughter. While they stitched a gash on my forehead, my phone rang. "Marcus, babe, oh my God, I just landed and saw your messages. Are you okay? Is Emma okay?" I told him everything. The accident, my mother's refusal, the care service I'd hired. "Your mom said no?" His voice rose. "She said no to watching her own grandchild during a medical emergency? She has a cruise tomorrow? I don't care if she has a meeting with the Pope. You were in a car accident." "I'm getting a flight back right now," he said. "I'll be there in 3 hours." "What about your presentation?" "Screw the presentation. My wife is in the hospital." I started crying, not from pain or fear, but because Marcus's immediate response showed me what family support should look like, and it made my mother's rejection hurt even more. After admission for overnight observation, I did something I'd been avoiding for 9 years. I opened my banking app and navigated to automatic payments. I saw the transfer I'd set up at 19, my first real job after college, when my parents were struggling with their mortgage. $4,500 every month for 108 months. They never knew it was me. The payments went to a separate account, then to the mortgage company. They assumed Dad's pension increased or Mom's bookkeeping brought in more income. They never questioned it, just enjoyed the stability. That $4,500 covered the mortgage, car payment, spa days, cruises, shopping trips with my sister, and allowed Dad to retire at 62 instead of 65. $4,500 times 108 months equals $486,000, nearly $500,000. And my mother couldn't spare 3 hours to hold her granddaughter while I was hospitalized. I canceled the automatic payment. Then I opened a new savings account, Emma's Future. I set up the same automatic transfer, $4,500 per month, to the new account for my daughter, the daughter my mother had refused to help. My finger hovered over confirm for a second, then pressed it. A nurse came in to check my vitals. "You're looking better. Color's back in your face." I smiled. I just made a decision I should have years ago. "Those are usually the best kind," she said. Around 8 p.m., there was a knock at my hospital room. I expected Marcus, but instead a tall man in his 70s entered. Gray hair, sharp blue eyes, wearing a cardigan despite the California heat. Grandpa, my mother's father, the man who taught me to fish, paid for my college textbooks, and slipped me $200 every birthday. "Grandpa," I tried to sit up, wincing. "How did you—" "Mrs. Chin called me," he said, pulling a chair close. "She said you'd been in an accident and that your mother refused to help with the baby. She overheard your phone conversation earlier when she came by to pick up Emma. I had picked up Emma from Mrs. Chin's house before the paramedics arrived. The care specialist, Claudia, had met me there. Apparently, Mrs. Chin was horrified by what she'd heard. "Grandpa, I'm okay. Emma's with a professional caregiver. Everything's fine," I said. His voice was gentle but firm. "Don't do that," he said. "Don't minimize what happened." He sat quietly for a moment, just looking at me, then continued, "Your grandmother and I paid for that cruise." I blinked. "What?" "The Caribbean cruise your mother has been talking about for months," he said. "We paid for it. It was their anniversary gift, $12,000 for the premium package." He shook his head slowly. "I thought we were giving them something nice. I didn't realize we were paying for their excuse to abandon their daughter and granddaughter." "Grandpa, you didn't know," I said. "I called your mother an hour ago," he replied, his voice firm now. "I told her I knew what she did. Do you know what she said?" I waited. "She said you were being dramatic, that you were fine, that you've always been too dependent and need to learn how to handle things on your own." He leaned forward slightly. Then she said, "Emma isn't my responsibility. Rebecca chose to have a baby. She needs to deal with the consequences." The words landed hard. "Consequences?" I repeated. "She called my daughter a consequence." "That's when I told her the cruise was canceled," he said. My eyes widened. "What?" "I called the cruise line and canceled the booking," he said calmly. "As the purchaser, I have that right. The refund is going back to my credit card." He gave a small smile, but there was no warmth in it. "Your parents will not be going on any cruise tomorrow." "Grandpa, you didn't have to." "Yes, I did." He reached for my hand carefully, avoiding my injuries. "Rebecca, I need to tell you something. Before your grandmother passed, she made me promise to look out for you. She worried about how your mother treated you differently than Vanessa." Tears filled my eyes. "I thought maybe she was imagining it," I said. "Grandmothers can be protective." "Over the years, I've watched," he said quietly. "I've seen the pattern. Your sister gets praised for the same things you're criticized for. Your accomplishments are minimized while hers are celebrated. You're expected to be understanding while she's allowed to be selfish." "That's just how Mom is," I said weakly. "That's how you've all allowed her to be," he replied, squeezing my hand. "Not anymore. Not after this." There was another knock at the door. This time it was Marcus, still in his conference suit, holding flowers and looking panicked. When he saw me, his face softened with relief. "I'm okay," I said as he kissed my forehead. "We're okay." Grandpa stood. "I'll give you some privacy," he said, then paused. "Before I go, is there anything else I should know?" I hesitated, then told him everything. The $4,500 monthly payments, the 9 years of financial support, the fact that I had just canceled it. His expression went still. "You've been paying their mortgage and car payment?" "I set it up when I was 19, I said. "They never knew it was me. $4,500 a month for 9 years. He did the math quickly. "That's nearly $500,000, $486,000. I nodded. Marcus stared at me. "You never told me." "I didn't tell anyone," I said. "They needed help and I could provide it, so I did." Grandpa was silent for a long moment. Then he asked, "Did they ever thank you? Did they ever acknowledge that their situation improved? They knew they suddenly had extra money every month? Did they ever question it?" I shook my head slowly. "They just spent it," I said. "On cruises, shopping, spa days, and helping Vanessa with her down payment." I stopped. "They helped Vanessa buy her house with my money." "And when you were in a car accident with a 6-week-old baby," he said coldly, "your mother couldn't spare 3 hours." He pulled out his phone. "I'm making a call. You rest." He stepped into the hallway, but I could hear him clearly. "Patricia, it's Dad. No, I'm not calling about the cruise. I'm calling about something else. Something I just learned." A pause. "Did you know Rebecca has been paying your mortgage for 9 years?" Silence. $4,500 a month, Patricia. $486,000 total. Your daughter, the one you called dramatic today, the one you refused to help, has been supporting you financially since she was 19. Another pause. "She canceled the payments this afternoon from her hospital bed after you abandoned her and your granddaughter." I could hear my mother's raised voice through the phone. Grandpa let her speak, then said evenly, "You have 24 hours to fix this." 24 hours to apologize to your daughter, to properly meet your granddaughter, and to show even a fraction of the gratitude and care she deserves. More shouting. If you don't, he continued, I'm changing my will. The house in Pasadena, the stocks, the savings bonds, all of it goes to Rebecca and Emma instead. I'm not bluffing, he said. I already spoke to my attorney. The paperwork is being prepared tomorrow morning. I will not leave my estate to someone who treats her own daughter this way or who calls her granddaughter a consequence. His voice dropped. Your mother would be ashamed of you. I know I am. Then he ended the call. Marcus and I sat in stunned silence as Grandpa returned to the room. He looked 10 years older, yet somehow more resolved. She's my daughter, and I love her, he said. But love doesn't mean accepting unacceptable behavior. Your grandmother taught me that. Grandpa, your will, you don't have to do this, I said. It's already settled in my mind, he replied. Whether she apologizes or not, you'll receive the majority. I'm giving her 24 hours only because your grandmother would want her daughter to have one chance to do the right thing. He kissed my forehead. Get some rest. I'm going to meet my great-granddaughter. Marcus, text me the address for the care service. After he left, Marcus carefully climbed onto the hospital bed beside me, holding me as if I might break. $500,000, he whispered. We could have paid off our house. I know, I said. We could have started Emma's college fund years ago. He was quiet for a moment. Why didn't you tell me? I stayed silent, then answered honestly, because I would have had to admit what I already knew, that I was paying for love that should have been free, that I was buying my parents' approval, and that no amount of money would ever make them treat me the way they treat Vanessa. He held me tighter. I'm sorry. For what? For not seeing it sooner, for not protecting you from them. You did protect me, I said. You flew home from Dallas in the middle of the biggest presentation of your year. That's basic human decency, Beck, the bare minimum. Exactly, I said, and my mother couldn't even manage that. Around 10 p.m., my phone started ringing. I declined the call. She called again. I declined again. Then the texts came. Rebecca, we need to talk about this misunderstanding. Your grandfather is being unreasonable. I never said I wouldn't help. You didn't give me time to explain. You're tearing this family apart over a simple miscommunication. I blocked the number. Then my sister called. What did you do? Vanessa snapped. Mom is hysterical. The cruise is canceled. Grandpa is threatening to cut her out of the will. All because you got a fender bender and mom couldn't drop everything immediately. It wasn't a fender bender, I said. I have 3 broken ribs and a fractured collarbone. Well, you're clearly fine enough to create family drama, she replied. Do you know how much Mom was looking forward to that cruise? Do you know how hard she's been working? Working? I almost laughed. Vanessa, I've been paying their mortgage for 9 years, $4,500 every month. That's how Mom can afford not to work. That's how Dad retired early. That's how they helped you with your down payment. Silence. You're lying. Ask Grandpa, I said, or ask Mom where she thought that extra $4,500 a month came from for the last 9 years. Even if that were true, it is true, I said. It still doesn't give you the right to manipulate Grandpa, she argued. He's elderly. He's not thinking clearly. He's thinking more clearly than anyone, I said. He sees exactly who Mom is, who you are, and who I am. Her voice rose. I'm not the one blackmailing my own mother with Grandpa's inheritance. No, I replied calmly. You're the one who gets everything handed to you while I pay for it. The golden child who can do no wrong while I'm always the problem. I took a breath. I'm done, Vanessa. I'm done funding your lifestyle. I'm done being the family ATM. I'm done accepting scraps of attention while you're celebrated for existing. You're being insane, she said. Mom loves you. Mom tolerates me as long as I'm useful, I replied. Today I learned exactly what my usefulness is worth. 3 hours. She couldn't spare 3 hours for her granddaughter while I had a head injury. Vanessa was quiet for a moment. Then she said, Fine. Keep Grandpa's money. Keep your victim mentality. Just don't expect me to feel sorry for you when you end up alone because you pushed everyone away. She hung up. Marcus had heard everything. You okay? He asked. Actually, yes. I said, surprised to mean it. For the first time in a long time, I can breathe. The next morning, I was discharged with strict instructions to rest for 2 weeks. Marcus brought Emma to the hospital, and I held my daughter for the first time since the accident. She was perfect, healthy, and calm. Claudia, the care specialist, had done an incredible job. She kept detailed notes on feedings, diaper changes, and sleep, and had even pumped and stored the milk the hospital helped me express. "You have a beautiful daughter," Claudia said as she gathered her things. "And you're a strong mother. Not many women could make the decisions you did from an ambulance." "I had help," I said. "Thank you for being there when my own mother wasn't." She gave a small, sad smile. "Family is who shows up. Remember that." We went home to flowers. Dozens of bouquets from friends, from Marcus's co-workers, from neighbors. Cards wishing me a quick recovery. There was nothing from my parents, nothing from my sister. But there was something from Grandpa. A large box with a note addressed to Emma's future, because she deserves grandparents who choose her first. Love, Grandpa Joe. Inside were savings bonds, $50,000 worth. I cried. The 24-hour deadline passed. No apology came. No call, no text. Grandpa's attorney contacted me the next day to confirm that the will had been officially changed. Rebecca Martinez and Emma Martinez were now the primary beneficiaries. My mother would receive $10,000, enough for a modest vacation, but far less than the lifestyle my money had funded. 2 weeks after the accident, my mother's mortgage payment bounced. Then their car payment. I knew because she called from a number I hadn't blocked. "Rebecca, there's been a mistake with our mortgage. The payment didn't go through. Can you check your end?" I took a deep breath. "There's no mistake, Mom. I canceled the payments." "What? Why would you?" She paused. "Wait, that was you? All these years, you were sending the money every month since you were 19? "Yes. I covered everything else for 9 years." "Rebecca, you can't just stop. We'll lose the house. We'll lose everything." "Like I almost lost everything when that truck hit me," I said. "When I was alone in the ambulance, terrified, calling you for help and being rejected. I apologized for that. I called Grandpa, and you called Grandpa to protect your inheritance. You never apologized to me." Silence. "Mom, you had 9 years of financial support from me. 9 years I gave freely, expecting nothing in return except maybe to be treated like I mattered. Like I was worth 3 hours of your time during a medical emergency. You couldn't even give me that." "Rebecca, please. We're your parents. You can't just abandon us." The irony was suffocating. You abandoned me first. You abandoned your granddaughter. You made your choice when you chose a cruise over your daughter's emergency. Now I'm making mine. What about family loyalty? What about it? Where was your loyalty when I was being cut out of a car? Where was it when your 6-week-old granddaughter needed you? We can work this out. Family therapy. We can. No. The word felt firm and final. I'm done working things out. I'm done being the only one who tries. I'm done paying for love that should be free. I hung up. The calls came in waves after that. Mom, Dad, Vanessa, even distant cousins. All with the same message. I was tearing the family apart, being vindictive, overreacting. Not one asked if I was okay. Not one asked about Emma. Not one acknowledged that my mother's refusal during a medical emergency had been the real problem. I blocked them all. Grandpa visited every week. He held Emma, told her stories about her great-great-grandmother, asked about my recovery, brought groceries, and helped around the house. "You're doing the right thing," he told me one afternoon. "It takes courage to walk away from toxicity, even when it's family. Especially when it's family." Do you think she'll ever understand? Honestly, probably not. People like your mother always see themselves as the victim. You'll always be the ungrateful daughter, not the generous child who supported her for years or the injured mother who needed basic help. That's sad, but it's not your responsibility to fix her perspective. Your responsibility is to Emma, to yourself, to building the family you deserve. He was right. 3 months later, I heard through a mutual friend that my parents had downsized to a smaller condo, sold their car, and my mother had taken a full-time bookkeeping job. They were finally living within their means for the first time in 9 years. I felt no satisfaction, but no guilt either. 6 months after the accident, Marcus was promoted. We used his bonus to start Emma's college fund, the same $4,500 a month I'd been sending my parents now going into an account for our daughter. At that rate, in 18 years, Emma would have nearly $1 million for her education. $1 million she would never have to repay, given freely with love, because that's what parents do. 1 year after the accident, I received a letter, not from my mother, but from my sister, Vanessa. I'm writing because I finally understand what you tried to tell me. Mom asked me to start helping with their bills. She said it was temporary, just until they got back on their feet. That turned into monthly requests, then weekly, then almost daily. She's asked me for $47,000 so far this year. I've given her $23,000. My husband is furious. My marriage is under strain. And when I told Mom I couldn't give any more, she called me selfish. I understand now. Just like she used to call you, Rebecca. You weren't exaggerating. You weren't being dramatic. You were being used. And the moment you could no longer serve a purpose, you were disposable. I'm sorry I didn't believe you. I'm sorry I chose her over you. I understand if you never want to speak to me again, but I wanted you to know you were right about everything. Your sister Vanessa, I read her letter 3 times. Part of me wanted to feel vindicated, to say I told you so, to welcome her into the circle of daughters who finally saw through Mom's manipulation. But mostly, I just felt exhausted. I wrote back a short note. Vanessa, thank you for your honesty. I hope you find the courage to set boundaries like I did. You deserve better than being at the mercy of anyone else. I'm not ready to rebuild our relationship yet, maybe someday, but I appreciate your acknowledgement of the truth. Take care of yourself, Rebecca. I didn't hear from her again, and that was okay. Emma is 2 years old now. She's funny, fierce, and completely unaware of the grandmother who once called her a consequence. She knows Grandpa Joe, who visits every Sunday and reads her the same stories he read to me. She knows Marcus's parents who flew in from Arizona to help when she was sick and never complained. She knows family is the people who show up. Last week at the park, another mother asked if Emma's grandparents visit often. Oh, yes, I said, watching Emma giggle as Grandpa pushed her on the swing. Her grandfather comes every week. What about your parents? I smiled. That is my parent, the one who matters. The woman looked confused but didn't press. Here's what I've learned in the 2 years since that car accident. Some people will only value you for what you provide. The moment you stop providing it, they show their true selves. Believe them. Don't waste years trying to earn love that should have been freely given. I think about that $486,000 sometimes. $500,000 I'll never get back. Money that could have changed my life in many ways. But I also think about what I gained by cutting them off. Peace, self-respect, a clear understanding of my worth, a family built on genuine love rather than obligation or guilt. That's worth far more than any dollar amount. My mother sends a card every year on Emma's birthday. I don't open them. They go straight into a box in the garage. Maybe one day Emma will want to know about that side of her family. Maybe she'll read them, but right now, she has everything she needs. Parents who choose her every day, a great-grandfather who adores her, and a future funded by love instead of guilt. If you're listening to this and have been the family ATM, paying for love that should be free, being dismissed and told you're dramatic when expressing legitimate needs, I want you to know something. You are not obligated to fund your own mistreatment. You are not required to finance people who refuse to show up for you. You are allowed to keep your money, your time, and your energy for people who actually value you. And if walking away means losing those who only loved what you could give, you weren't losing family. You were losing users. There's a difference. My name is Rebecca Martinez. I'm 30 years old. I'm a mother, a wife, and a granddaughter. I used to be a daughter and a sister too, but I'm learning that DNA doesn't make you family. Loyalty does. Respect does. Showing up does. 2 years ago, my mother refused to watch my newborn during my car accident because she had cruise tickets. Now she works full-time to afford a life she used to take for granted. My grandfather changed his will to protect the granddaughter who needed protecting. Me. I'm thriving. We're thriving. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's building a beautiful life with people who truly deserve to be in it. If this story gave you strength, drop a comment and let me know where you're listening from. And if you've set boundaries with toxic family members, you're not alone. We're all out here building better families, one choice at a time.